could do crystals at the beach. Okay, that might be better if they're... Okay, yeah. Okay, that's right. Okay, not everybody's going to the beach. I can do 10 minutes on crystals there. Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. Actually, all right, we're just looking here at the time, and as far as we're like a half hour over where we're supposed to be, but that's all right because we were 3 hours later than we were supposed to be too. So, since everybody's not going to the beach, I will finish up with the crystal thing, talking about the crystals here. And it's kind of funny because I can talk about the crystals, the shadow, and your own personal shadow, the planetary shadow. What's happening with crystals right now is part of the planetary shadow, part of our race history, is coming through the crystals, and they're being used for negative reasons, some of them, and it's going to be affecting all of the planetary grids. It's very simple to clear them. Now, if you try to clear crystals in general, like hold them in your hands and just say run D12 frequency, the programs that are running through crystals right now will not be enough to just hold up to a basic Maharic seal. I mean, if you were a full 12-strand activated being and you're all activated and you were having the inside pillar as well as the outside pillar, you'd be able to blow the yucky stuff, the miasms, out of the crystals. But right now, because they have such a powerful program that's being run from the Wisdek matrix, which is a part of the Phantom matrix, it's actually a part of another matrix that latched into Phantom matrix. There's a really strong, nasty program being run through crystals and through metal elements right now. You can clear stuff, like if you have jewelry and all that kind of stuff. You can clear this. What you would simply do before you do regular projection stuff, where you're going to use your palms and breathe up Maharic frequency and breathe it down, particularly down your right palm, your transmitting palm, into the crystal. All right. Before you would do that, you would do the technique number 2, which would be the salutation, the Akasha Mano salutation. If you do that first, you're activating enough of the Mano Vecca code frequencies. That can override the program that's being run through the crystals right now. So doing talk about the crystals, we don't really need to go into 25 minutes on crystals. Now that's the little crystals you hold in your hand. There's other crystals that are having a problem. The whole planetary grid crystal structure is having a problem. You can assist in this process simply by, when you do salutations in your, if you actually do the program and you do them, in the morning or the one at night, you can actually hold the intention that you're going to gift the crystal structure of the planet with this one. This one's for those crystals. So you will literally be sending the program, the healing program that you're running through your own body into the crystalline grid with the intention of sending it into healing the crystal grid, which will, in turn, if we can begin the healing process of the crystals that are embedded in the Earth's crust, every crystal that anybody has on the planet, right? Well, most of them. A few are from Nibiru, but most of the ones have come from the crystalline structures that are here in the planet. So if you have a crystal, or if your neighbor has a crystal, or any crystal collection anywhere on the planet, if you can heal the mother matrix that it came out of, it will pass that healing right down through all of its little pieces. So when we work, if we dedicate some of our salutations to the purpose of healing the crystalline grids, we will literally help to clear the crystalline grids of everything that's made out of crystal, even microchips and things. That ought to be interesting. See what happens with that. Yeah, I might be blowing microchips by accident by clearing its crystals. I don't know. Now, this goes for gold and silver and platinum. Okay? The metals, all of the metals on the planet are affected by the reversals. All the elements are. But certain ones hold frequency more fully than others. And things that are made out of gold and silver and platinum are very strong photoradionic and photosonic energy holders. So these will be like if you have gold jewelry or silver jewelry, like the things that, the necklaces. Where did I put mine? I took it off when I took a bath and I forgot it. These things hold frequency very strongly. If they're not cleared, they're going to hold the reversals for you. So you can do the same process. You can clear your jewelry simply by, you can actually do it you can wear it while you're doing your salutation, and that will clear it. Or you can hold it in your hand, and after you do a salutation, bring the current up, make a ball in your heart chakra, and blow the current down the axiotonal lines in your arm, like they teach you in Kathara healing, and make a ball of the frequency in your palm. And that will surround the thing you're working on. Give it about 3 or 4 breaths. Like, bursts of frequency. And don't try it if you know you haven't got your frequency running very well. Don't just do it with a Maharic seal, because you'll only create a temporary D12 subharmonic around it, and that's not enough to override the program. So you'll think it's safe to wear it, and it's actually going to be messing with your fields. All right? So take the time to do technique 2, the Akasha salutation, then you will have active at that moment in your body. You will have enough of the current to clear the crystal programs. So as far as the crystals go, this is the best thing you can do for the crystals, the best thing anybody can do for the crystals. There's also something that you can do as far as pictures of crystals. Photographs are also frequency carriers, and they have been being used for centuries, so have paintings and things. It's called resonant alignment imagery. Now, photos, paintings, artwork, these kind of things are also transmitters of frequency. And you don't know what, the things on your walls that you've, come to love, you don't know where they really came from. You might know some where they came from, but what was working through them, you don't know what they're calibrated to. Every image is connected to something else in the unseen. So you can also go in front of, you can go through your whole house, almost like, how they spray for bugs? Well, you can use your heart chakra in indirect induction. This is how we do when we have a lot of people that need ordination. We do indirect induction, where we activate more current, because you have to have more to project it directly through the chakras, because it gets diffused. It's stronger. It's like a laser beam when it comes out the palms. But you can cover a wider area when you project it through your chakras, but you need more of it because it diffuses, and if you want it to be strong enough, you have to generate more. You can literally, go stand in your doorway of your house, get your posture right, pull up a Surya or two and do your tones if you want to, add oomph to it, and do your salutation right there, or do your salutation and then go there and breathe into your house and breathe out anything that doesn't belong in there as far as frequency. Send it back to the Manau with the intention of it healing and being recycled into healthy stuff, and then breathe out the frequency. You can clear just about anything by doing the salutation. That is the Manau salutation, the Manau Akasha salutation. A regular salutation alone won't generate enough frequency. But this one, particularly if you're working with it every day, where you're really learning to amp your frequencies, you'll be able to clear all sorts of stuff. It will also begin to, you'll develop abilities to heal things. Okay? Like you may find that things heal or accidents are avoided near you or things like this after you start working with these for a while, where you're starting to hold the Manau frequency. That's the God-conscious frequency. That's the absolute love field that everything else came out of. And that's the most powerful force there is in creation. And if you're co-creating with it, it's co-creating with you as well. So if you begin to work with these things, they're very simple things. You can clear your toaster, you can clear your food this way, which is a very good idea. Say a prayer over it. Amp up your currents and beam it through the palm, or beam it through here, sit in front of your food. You can do this if you can bring up enough current. Do indirect induction. You can sit in a restaurant, nobody knows you're blowing frequency into your plate, right? You have to clear it, so you don't have to, have regular people out here that think they're normal, think you're weird. Let's see, there's one, as far as the food goes, I would rather suggest so you get more frequency, so you get stronger frequency, because you're not going to go out to dinner and go in the bathroom and do a salutation and then come back out so you have it amped, right? It'd be a little strange, because somebody in the bathroom is probably going to see you and hear you, right? So you're better off, do the salutation before you go out if you're going out to dinner. If you're doing it at home, rather than worry about doing each meal, simply get your refrigerator, after you go shopping, and your cupboards. Do your salutation and do it in the kitchen near these things, because you're going to be blowing frequency the whole time, and then just stand in front of things and breathe a bit. And really, you will send enough frequency with these techniques, not the other earlier ones, but these will give you enough frequency that you can really begin to make a difference in the quality of things that you have in your home and the quality of things that come into your body. So that's really all I have to say on crystals right now. There can be a whole other workshop on talking to them and learning to find out who they are. Okay, yes, Christian?
One with the E-ray first, and then the Manau, the man-made one, right? But what if you're doing it what if it's 1, 4, 3, 2?
If you're doing it in the salutation, it says right in the exercise where you'd put them. You would change them, because those Suryas always stay.
Can you just do a sequence you just did the lunar one.
Okay.
Can you do I know, but how would you make them together if you do the...
To learn it, you take them separately first, okay? Learn to do them each separately. Don't worry about moving from one to the other. And that way you'll have flexibility. Like, I have to go back and look at, okay, what was the sequence there? Okay, I have to do this again. This will take another 15 minutes for me to demonstrate this right here, right now. I think there's enough in there. It's in your book, okay? It's in the book. It explains where what Surya goes. They stick with the current that they're assigned to. So if you're going to run the lunar, you would have the Ire first. If you're going to run the Mane current first in the daytime, in the solar, you would put the other Surya first, which would be the flowing waters would go first, and then you go from there into the flower one, the sleeping flower, and from there you'd come down and swing up into the rising moon. All right? The body will know. You can move through these, but take them each singly as that particular picture, like a Kodak still point, a still moment, would go with that sound. And then when you start to connect the sounds together, you'll start to feel a natural flow of the movements. Like, it can come out different every time, because like, remember I did it the first time, I could feel exactly how it was supposed to be. Then we kind of went in, okay, what was exact? Because I wasn't in the flow of it quite there. The flow will come eventually, and it will become natural. So I think I just answered your question. I didn't demonstrate it, but I just showed you how you would reverse that sequence, basically. Okay? Yes, you had your hand up before, yeah. I was answering her. I didn't see you had your hand up. I'm sorry, but she had her hand up here for the two last rounds.
Pure iridium that Sai Baba manifests. So is that okay, or do you do the thing on that, or is that different?
It doesn't hurt to do the thing on anything. Let's put it that way. Okay? Verbooty?
Yeah.
Give it an extra charge. It'll be good for Sai Baba too. Okay. Okay. We've got hands up, people here. You had yours up third. Okay.
I know doing this new clearing on the crystals makes it all right to use them now in the center of the round tables.
You can use them in the center of the round tables, yes. Like once you clear crystals, you can use them in the center of the round tables. But what we have been asked not to do is to create like central grid links. Oh, you guys link to our round, you link to our round, you link to our round. You should not link your rounds together. You should link them simply to the Gruel point, and the Iani will take it from there, okay? Because there's too much. It could be very easily, you could link to one that happens to have been a reversed round, and it will bring your whole round into reverse. Plus, it will open the people's biofields to possibly being infiltrated if the thing that got the other round was strong enough. So you don't link the rounds together ever with crystals, because there's too much, that leaves too much of an opening for sabotage. So just really do your round, send it to the Gruel point with the intention that it's for the Iani, and the Iani will take it from there. They'll take it into the inner earth, and they'll link them in safe space. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yes?
How many crystals can you clear at one time with that process, and how often do you have to keep doing that?
That's a very individual question. It depends on how much frequency you can hold. And if your self-image is actually running ahead of your body's ability to hold frequency, you can get yourself in trouble with things like that. Which means if you think you're running more frequency than you actually are, you can get yourself messing with crystals that are going to mess with you back, because you think they're cleared, but they're not. The best thing to do is start small and few, and underestimate how much current you can run. Okay, if you think you can run this much, pretend you can only run this much, and do that many. Yeah, cut it in about half. That way you'll be absolutely sure you're not overextending yourself, and then of course putting yourself in jeopardy of something. So assume that you have about half of what you really do, or what you think you do, and that way you'll always be ahead of what you think you have anyway. Because if you think you have this much, but you're acting as if you have this much, so you really are probably feeling you have this much, you probably have somewhere in between. So it's a balancing thing. Undershoot it all the time. Don't take on more than what you honestly feel you have the frequency to handle. And just in case you're not real accurate in assessing how much frequency you have, back it back a little bit. If you think you can do 10 crystals, do 5. That kind of thing. If you think you can do 2, I would suggest starting with 2 and building from there, for anybody. Okay, yes?
Question, you mentioned something about to work with the earth crystals. How about those crystals like moldavite, which is supposed to have come from a meteorite?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Does that work too?
Yeah, you can work with any crystals. It doesn't just have to be quartz crystals. She was asking about moldavite. You can work with any of the substances. You can work with the metals and with the crystals and with the gemstones and all of that. The same process will work for them. They all would have in their natural template these particular codes. they would have these man-now codes in them. And right now they would be in mutated form, just like our atoms are. So you're giving it back, and you're giving it a kick of its natural program, so it can begin to take back its natural program. Okay. Which is the Akasha salutation. There's indications in the text there where you would put each of the Suriyas if once you integrate them into that. You don't have to do those in the salutations yet. What we would suggest first is learn to do the salutations with the tones, right, in technique number 2, and don't worry about integrating the Suriyas yet. And then when you work with the Suriyas, simply do them while you're doing the tones, when you're not doing the whole thing, when you're just running technique 1, where you're just using the tones, use the tones and the Suriyas together. I haven't even tried this yet. All right, this stuff literally just came through today, and I haven't had a chance to say, okay, what are those tones again, and do the postures. Excuse me. But it's very simple combining anyway, as far as you would do the tones for each of them on that, and the Mano Technique 1, where the sequence that is on there, you would use that toning sequence, and you could do it several times. It's not going to hurt. You don't have to just do it once. You could do it several times, but you would use and integrate the 3 postures where where they're indicated as far as what they're connected to. I'll show you what the postures are and which of the 3 primal consciousness currents that they go with. They're very, very simple. But it's interesting, once you get them all put together, where you get to the point where you do the tones and the Suriyas with the spinning, it becomes a bit more dynamic. And there are 12 Suriyas altogether. We're going to be getting 3 of them in each of the 4 aspects of the dance 4 classes. So right now we only have the first 3. Some of the others use the legs, which how we're going to spin and do something else with their legs at the same time, I don't know unless we're levitating, but you never know. But right now they're very simple. The first one is called the rising moon. All right, the rising moon goes with the Ire current. So when you're when you're using the sound tone that goes with the sound tone sequence, the song that goes with the Ire current, it is very simple. If you're just standing there and you're toning, it would simply be the rising moon. Now notice the posture that I started with in the first place. Okay, I'm not starting like this, right? Yeah, see, you could do a rising moon like this. You're not going to get the same energy, all right? The beginning posture for any of this stuff, your main vertical current that runs up and down your spine is very important to how you're running frequency. There is a posture that every one of us has. It's like a place of optimum balance of the kundalinis, where the shoulders are back a bit, but it's not that military stance where you're like this. It's not that. There's a place in between where the shoulders are back a bit, because that expands the lungs, so you can breathe better, so you can run energy better. Where there's a way of like pulling yourself up, as if you were on a string, if somebody's pulling you on a string just a little bit, where you can feel the lift in your carriage. You can learn to carry this. I mean, after a while, you learn to actually carry this, and you'll find yourself using it a lot. It will help all sorts of things, like your axiotonal lines will start to expand and run more frequency on a regular basis if you pay a bit of attention to your posture. Posture is very important when it comes to how the energy is running. If you sit in ways that block certain currents, you're literally, it's like I tend to sit on my legs all the time. I sit in the lotus position even when I'm on chairs, and it tends to block my knees, so of course I get swelling and everything down below them, that kind of thing. When we're getting into using the Suriyas, these are the movements that are going to take those wave fields that we're making with the tones and form them and shape them in very specific ways. Now, if we're doing them from an awkward position to start, we're going to get awkward shaped waves. If you're trying to create a wave that's, say, shaped like a circle, and you're using a certain Suriya to do it, but you're using it with a bad posture, you may get a flat-sided egg instead of a circle, because the energy was running different than it would be if you were running it vertically, which means your Merkaba is in a balanced position and you're actually holding the currents straight to begin with. So you don't have to be rigid about it. Comfortable is important. But if you're used to kind of, walking around, a lot of people, I do this a lot of time. If I'm tired especially, it's kind of, I walk around and kind of droop, It's worth paying attention to the posture and to the breathing. Where before you even start to sing an ariya, before you start to employ an ariya or a sariya, get your lungs moving again. All right, just like literally do a few inhale and exhale breaths. Go inhale and hold it at the top until you feel like you're going to turn purple, but not where you're straining. Then exhale it, but exhale more than you used to, because usually we have a bit of air still trapped down in the bottom of the lungs because we don't fully exhale. So we have stale air stuck down there. So you want to and feel the muscles of the diaphragm going and pushing on it a bit, where you get the circuits cleared. You might start feeling heat rushes, even just doing that kind of breathing, where something's happening because you're getting more oxygen into the body and you're getting rid of more of the carbon dioxide and byproducts and things that aren't supposed to be in there anymore. So you start in a good space to begin with before you go into the exercises. Now the postures are painfully simple. They're so simple they're silly until you start trying to employ them while you're doing spinning and all sorts of other things. And then you realize that there's going to be at some point probably 12 sets of tones, each with its own posture, that each has to do with a different spin rate of the Merkaba. So this is the beginning of learning how to ever get to that point. Oh, there's one thing that I do want to mention. Please remind me, with crystals, I know crystals, but there's the spin rates of the Merkaba that we're going to try to form. Now, usually the spin rates are 33 1/3 over electrical, over 11 2/3 magnetic. There's some interesting numbers, and the bottom one is 911 2/3, and the top one is like 2730 something. I have to look it up. It's 2730 something. That's the Mahanta Merkaba spin. So this is what we're going to be building. It's a lot faster than the one that the smaller ones. Anyway, the sariyas are simple. You would start with the ariya, which is the song that you're singing. What? Okay, I'm just afraid I'm going to whack you. Because I got to put my arms up. Somehow I've got to do this. Okay, I think I'll just yell this one because I'm gonna keep getting tied up in that with this one. At least this one I will, because I have to move the arms up. You simply start the toning. It would be a good idea to do like one, run through the tones once or twice first. Run through the tones so you get that going and you get used to that. And if you have to do these, if you want to do them together, tape the page with the tones up on the wall so you can face the wall so you don't have to worry about using your hands to hold the paper to try to remember the tones. So just stick it on the wall or on a bulletin board or something and do the posture before it. All right. The first one is simple. The rising moon goes with the ire sequence. It is simply from this position, from the relaxed position, you would... This is right. I'm going to whack you. I'm going to whack the mic. All right. Because I have to do the arm span. All right. Now, when you do this... Yeah, I'll be right back where I'll need it. Please.
Hey, why don't we all do this? Why don't we all stand?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Watch
her Everybody wants to get them going on the top.
Get it right.
Watch her.
Show us.
All right. So watch once. Anybody wants to do it can do it. Okay, how's that? The first one, you're in that comfortable space, but you do have the shoulders back a little bit. And you don't have to have feet close together, but just a little bit apart, like a foot's width apart. Keep your basic balance. And it's very, very simple. It's just like the rising moon. But you're feeling expansion. Look at how I'm stretching my arms out. You see how they look like they're getting longer and longer? They feel like they're getting longer. And you bring it up, palms together, and then turn the palms. And you would tone while you're doing that. You would tone the lines. Now, you would hold that position. If you were doing it in a round or something, if you're doing it in a salutation, you would be doing your, this would be with your counterclockwise spin. Yes, counterclockwise, that way. Okay? Just think for a minute. You would be swinging your tones and spinning in that position. And you could also, after a while, you could get where you modulate it, where you bring it down again and bring it up again. And you bring arms down again, bring them, whoops, you're right, again, the flowers, and then up again. Where it becomes like a dance. You're almost like you're in ballet class. No, you don't have to go buy stretches in the teacher. Those especially for the guys. So, simply, it's the bringing the arms up, palms together first, and then to the side. And you can just tone that way, but try to feel the stretch. And through here, through the lungs, both sides, and it's almost pretend you have wings when you're bringing this up. Instead of just, right, you know how you do jumping jacks, you just kind of go, not like that. Pretend you're a bird getting ready to soar. And there's a shoulder thing that happens, all right? There's a shoulder thing where you can feel a roll in the shoulder joints, where you bring it up, it expands, it rolls back. There's a weird little roll back, almost as if your wings are getting ready to come up. Now, you're not going to go all the way back. You're just going to go to the side, but those shoulders are going to roll a little bit to the front when you're doing it. Actually, start with the palms that way. Yeah, you bring them up together, and then turn them. Try to feel it down through here. We won't even try yet to get into where you breathe what. Because there's all sorts of different breaths you use with these for different effects. There's panting breaths, you really shorten past. There's really long breaths, there's really long holding breaths. They all do something different with that sound form. First, we're going to learn to bring that sound form into shape. When you do this, you should feel a pull here, right here, in the area right where you have your rib cage comes down, right in the solar plexus area. That means you're making enough of a stretch where you're actually pulling current. You're pulling the shape of the pillar that you've generated around you, of the sound forms that you've generated around you. Very simple. Just bring your hands over your head. You know? So, bring it up, rising, moon. Okay? Rising moon. Now, in the usual sequence, you would go from that, which would be with the inhale. As you were doing it, that would be the inhale. You would actually be going, let's see about 4 days to do these together. I haven't tried it yet. Then you would know the next posture, and you would, when you went into it, you would exhale into the next posture. The next posture that usually you would use in the sequence that, that's following the tones as they are on the page would be, we call it the sleeping flower. Okay? Actually, this is the sequence you would use. Yeah, you do the inhale, then you do the embedding. Inhale embeds it, then you do the pause to hold it. Yep, this is the sleeping flower goes with the man-out. M-A-N-U, of course. The sleeping flower is, you're coming down out of this position. And you're literally going to fold up like a little flower going to sleep. And this is challenging when you're going to tone. You're going to act like you're going to use the exhale breath to tone the man-out sequence. But you're going to go from here, and it's kind of just like a roll, where you turn the palms back together, and face them out, and then head, shoulders, all kind of moves together. Elbows spread out a bit. And from this position, you would make the sounds, and you would tone for a bit the man-out sequence there. And from there, you would move into the man-a sequence, which is the projection sequence. And that sequence is called flowing waters. So you would come from here. The head would start to come up. The hands would go down in front of the heart chakra. And palms out. I hope this is on tape because it's coming through very clear now. I hope I can remember. And then you would begin expanding the chest, pushing the arms out, palms out, and then pushing the palms out. And after a while, you would get the flow effect. 3 very simple postures. You can use these like you use Tai Chi. You're just doing the same thing, but it's at different levels. All right? Those, now imagine you're doing these, right, combined with breathing, toning, and spinning. This is what eventually this builds up to. But start with just practicing the hand gestures. I'm going to try to do these on, like I can see by the time I go home, it's like, what do they do with my palms in that one? Because I felt it come through. It's like the man I was with me, it's like, this is how you make this movement. This is the first time I've actually made the movements too. So thank goodness it's being taped. What I'll try to do is get some kind of little tape. We'll try to get some kind of little tape out that really shows you and explains what we just explained here. Just something little, so you can do them, because it is important how you're moving parts.
Again?
Yeah. I hope so. Isn't it good that came through first time really well? I can try. Yes, I will try.
No, this time. Go on.
Okay. I don't want to whack you, though. Okay. All right. Now, I'm trying to remember what direction were my palms starting in and what direction did they end up in. There's some of this stuff that you'll probably go through as you first try to, figure what was that? All right. All right. We're going to do the ear A one. You'd be toning the ear A. And eventually, when you get really good at it, you'd be toning this one on the inhale breath. You'd be toning on the inhale breath. But right now, if you find you try to do that, you use so much air up that it's like you can't get a whole sentence said backwards, like, inhaled that way. So right now, just do the toning on the, on the exhale and use the gesture with the inhale. So you'd like tone right before, and once you got into position, it'd be the places where you did the tone. But while you're making the move is when you would actually be doing the inhale. You're pulling the movement in with you. So you do the tone right before, then do the inhale and the move, and you can do the tone again once it was there. I did that really fast. I didn't even pay attention. I hope I did it right. So, yeah, palms facing legs, then, and there's that weird little shoulder roll that comes out. You're supposed to be this way. This. And then that pull, that little pull in the abdomen area, and then that. And that one is the rising moon that would go into the sleeping flower. Now that one came through very clear, and I have to see if I can remember how to do that. The palms. Yeah, the head and the shoulders and the palms rolled. No, the palms weren't they closed? Yeah, I thought so. Okay. They're back together. Then we start
Palms rotate to the back, don't they?
the roll down. At some point they did. It came through perfect the first time I did it. That was before my brain got in the way. Yeah. Okay, palms together. Oh, yeah, there was a backwards in there. Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, they went toward the head, and then the elbows started to come down along with the shoulder roll, and the elbows started to spread out in the sleeping flower, and it ended up somewhere about here. Something like that. Okay. Okay. And then from there, it goes into the flowing water ones, where the movement continues down. And I believe there was a, how do we do that? We came across here, across the heart chakra. Then what did we do?
They turned around the chest.
They turned around. It, like,
Face the other way.
you see what I mean? It came through first, real clear, but now I'm lost again. All right. See, I told you we're learning it together. You'll be better at it than me. Okay, we did this. Now, something this way. Did they come out this way? Elbows first? I have to watch the tape to literally see how it came through the first time, because I was having help that time. Okay? And then, yeah, and then there was a, what did the palms do? There was something up and then down. There was a flipping with the hands, yeah. See, these are, you can play with these with what we've got here. I'll get these fine-tuned, because what I'll do is I'll have Ma'a work with me. You can ask him to work with you too, but I'll have Ma'a work with me and say, okay, now what exactly did we do there? And we'll get it on film so you can watch it and so we can narrate it. When I just did it the first time, it literally was like I could feel the presence of the man now or whatever with me, and it knew where to move them. The movement knew how to take itself. And then when I got my brain in the way, it's like, what exactly did we do? You know, it's like the body knew how to do it, but once the mind got engaged, it forgot. So we'll fine-tune these and get them in a form that you can work with them. But meanwhile, even if you're not, like the hands are in the wrong position at that time, it's not going to totally change the waveform. Okay, it's 8:30, okay. That means we got to go. Well, we got to do crystals. We could do crystals at the beach. Okay, that might be better if they're... Okay, yeah. Okay, that's right. Okay, not everybody's going to the beach. We can do 10 minutes on crystals, right? Okay.
I'm really easy.
Okay. Actually, all right, we're just looking here at the time, and as far as we're like a half hour over where we're supposed to be, but that's all right because we were 3 hours later than we were supposed to be too. So, since everybody's not going to the beach, I will finish up with the crystal thing, talking about the crystals here. And it's kind of funny because I can talk about the crystals, the shadow, and your own personal shadow, the planetary shadow. What's happening with crystals right now is part of the planetary shadow. part of our race history, is coming through the crystals, and they're being used for negative reasons, some of them, and it's going to be affecting all of the planetary grids. It's very simple to clear them. Now, if you try to clear crystals in general, like hold them in your hands and just say run D12 frequency, the programs that are running through crystals right now will not be enough to just hold up to a basic Maharic seal. I mean, if you were a full 12-strand activated being, and you're all activated, and you were having the inside pillar as well as the outside pillar, you'd be able to blow the yucky stuff, the miasms, out of the crystals. But right now, because they have such a powerful program that's being run from the Wisdek matrix, which is a part of the Phantom matrix, it's actually a part of another matrix that latched into Phantom matrix. There's a really strong, nasty program being run through crystals and through metal elements right now. You can clear stuff, like if you have jewelry and all that kind of stuff. You can clear this. What you would simply do before you do regular projection stuff, where you're going to use your palms and breathe up Maharic frequency and breathe it down, particularly down your right palm, your transmitting palm, into the crystal. All right, before you would...